Oh, apologies. My name is Mike Plotkin. I'm one of the system consultants here at PacketTrap MSP Quest Software, and we will be doing a discussion of our RMM solution, PacketTrap MSP. I'm going to start with a quick 15-20 minute high-level overview to concentrate on some of the key features that we have, and just kind of introduce you to the modules, the workflow, the interface, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on how to set up an initial, best practice global support policy within PacketTrap, just so ease of use and all the things that we can monitor on the onset. So this is for new customers and people that are looking at beginning a managed services offering, as well as just looking to a RMM solution such as PacketTrap MSP. So I did mention earlier, if you have any questions, please type them into the chat window. You can always email, support for questions down the road, or I recommend going to our site and downloading PacketTrap MSP to your own due diligence and learn. The best way to learn it is to just jump right into it and navigate it, just like you learn to swim. So let me jump in here. So what is everybody looking at here is our PacketTrap MSP interface, completely brandable. So where you see PacketTrap MSP, just keep in mind you're going to see your customer's logo, your logo there, not ours. So it's a marketing tool that you can have. Everything's brandable. There's no need to know that Quest or PacketTrap. From this screen right here, all your modules are up at the top. So you got configuration, which includes the management, antivirus, and I'll cover that in a little bit of detail. From the screen, you're getting up and down system information, just some basic up and down categories. And I ask anybody that's joining us to just please put their device on mute. That way we don't get any loopback or anything like that. Screen right here, you have all your customers in this drop-down window. So as I navigate between customers, I get a little bit of a different layout, different features that I have enabled on there. I'm going to my Q&A build here. From the screen, I get up and down system information, just some basic CPU, memory usage, what the device status is. If I highlight a device, it'll tell me the system information on the right-hand side here. Yellow means that the device is trending toward failure. There's an alert triggered on there. Red means that the device is down, and green means that the device is up and running. We're both agent and agentless, so that means that we can get actually very granular with the networking devices and desktop and server side of things. So when you see a little agent next to the device on the left-hand side here, that means that there's an agent installed. And so some features only work with an agent. Having an agent installed does give us more control of the environment. So we do recommend putting agents on any device you can, especially laptops. If they go off the grid, you'll still be able to monitor them, even if they're in Siberia somewhere, as long as they have internet connection. Things you can do from this screen. We have network diagnostic tools. So that's traffic jam and trace route. So you can ping, how many hops a certain device has to make to get out. Traffic jam bombards the network with a certain amount of packets over an interval percentage of, and you measure, the packet loss, latency, the interface traffic to get a measurement and understanding of what an added application such as VoIP would do to the network, how much additional bandwidth it will consume, so you can see what the threshold is on the network. Scan, max scan, and whatnot. We have a couple additional tools in here, such as TFT server, so you can transfer configuration files back to the networking devices, as well as NetFlow collector, which we do built into the product itself, and I'll show you that in a little bit, and WMI scan. Also on this screen, we have very regular remote control. And what I mean by that is we have many options for remote control, such as RDP, VNC, Secure Telnet, and web proxy and web browser. As you know, a lot of networking devices are going into the web GUI space, so they're making everything completely functional in that sense from the web proxy or from the GUI, so such as Sonic Wall. So we have a feature that allows you to log into any network layer switch, firewall, or router that is not on your LAN, or you are not on the LAN at the moment, so you don't have to RDP into the server to gain access to that. We also have a feature, Expert Assist. Expert Assist is built in to PacketTrap, very comparable to Login or TeamViewer. It's a hybrid between RDP and VNC that allows you to perform on the fly remediating to devices without having Sally take a 3-hour coffee break or whatnot. So she doesn't even have to know that you're on the endpoint. It could also be configured to allow the end user to know. So depending on the verticals you're working with, whether it's financial institutions or whatnot, you might want to notify that the end user that a technician or somebody is on a laptop or PC fixing problems behind the scenes, able to do screenshots and whatnot, communicate, transfer files, and you can do on-site with a desktop server or laptop, you can do with Expert Assist. So for granular data, just double-click on the device. So here I have a vCenter, a vHost. I have my VMware host summary right here, my virtual machines, and all the tabs here are auto-populated for me. So my running processes, installed applications, hardware inventory, current logged-in user. If I had Exchange or Active Directory running on here, this tab would automatically appear given that the monitors are selected. And generally, we have built-in templates for out-of-the-box monitors, and I'll cover those towards the end. I'll connect to this device straight from here and run those tools straight from here. We cover the rest of the modules here. We have reporting to show the customer, what tickets have been opened, the response time, the status of their overall network. You can run more technical reports to see CPU utilization, network utilization, so you can trend data and whatnot. You can customize your own report. So if there's a report here, template that you don't see or you would like to have created, you can run the report manager to customize that. And it's a very simple wizard that just takes you through a couple of steps to create a template that you want to then run a report on. I'm sure you're aware of this. If not, we purchased PTA a while back, about late January, early February. So we have an integrated ticketing system of our own now. We also integrate with all 3 leading ticketing systems out there, ConnectWise, Autotask, and TigerPaw, as well as our own. Scripting is very useful within PacketTrap in any kind of remote solution because it allows you to do things that normally you would have to log into a PC, each individual PC. This you can do across the board, 100 PCs, 100 servers at one time. The beauty of PacketTrap is that we like to allow you to customize things as your business needs dictate. Meaning that this is the pre-canned template monitors and all that we feel are industry standard. But for the scripting aspect, we use any kind of standard PowerShell or batch script. Meaning as long as the interpreter is installed on the other end, you can virtually pull a script from Microsoft Script Center, Cisco, anywhere you can get a script and run it on that particular device. And just show here, script depository of scripts, not just built in, but also on our community, which you can find through the actual platform here. So these are the extensions of scripts we can write. To deploy, set up, and run on the endpoints. You can create then type analysis, so if A occurs and you get a result of B, if you want the system to do something else, you can automate that within the script package. And I'll talk about conditional-based alerts and auto-remediation towards the end when we start setting up a global policy. I'll show you how to do that. Patch management. Patch management is also an important piece of provide remote managed services to customers. You want to make sure it's a security vulnerability from some perspectives, performance from us. So having Windows updates is sometimes very critical to devices, and sometimes depending on the SLA that you have, for these patches to match your SLA. Meaning, for instance, on all my Windows 7 SPR or 2008 SBS servers, I can install certain patches and have to manually approve others. So we monitor updates. We can configure automatic updates for the end users, so that way we can install the download. But if it's a big download or if it's a big patch, sometimes you might not want to reboot the computer afterwards, or you might want to let the end user decide when to install the patches. So you can download them for them and prompt them to install it. Sometimes people use this, sometimes they don't, but it's an option available for you here within PacketTrap. Controls updates. This opens up the full spectrum of the patch management module, which allows you to create default actions for categories of Windows patches, and allows you to select an action if it does require a reboot, whether you want user intervention or just automatically reboot or don't do anything. the time when you want it to scan and when you want it to install. And we have online in our community and setting up patch management from a best practice perspective within PacketTrap. So I'm not going to dive too deep into that here. And first deployment, we partner with Viper. We can monitor any other service or any other antivirus service through application event logs, SNMP queries, or ensure that the services are running. But to deploy AV, we use Viper for that. So from the module here, you can configure your own separate policies. Advanced settings for this right here. To do all this is out of the box. In fact, none of this I've set up. You can make exclusions and exceptions and apply to either groups, devices, or customers. And all this from the PacketTrap interface here. From the administrative section, pretty self-explanatory. You got your branding configuration, all the third-party PSA integration tools, MIB library, so you can create custom SNMP monitors easily and on the fly, understanding what the OID represents. User management, up and down system configuration. This is kind of for aesthetic purposes. So what determines within the interface whether a device goes from green to red to yellow, alert trigger or whatnot. And so you can create as many accounts for people, give them different levels of authority. So in some cases, you might want to create a user account for XYZ customer for them to read only, that they can log in and view their own systems, or there might be a CTO on site that you want to give, a little bit more authority. You make them a site administrator so that they can actually administer level 1, level 2 tickets, and then you can troubleshoot all the level 3 tickets, depending on, again, how your business model is set up and how your SLAs are. Just quickly jump into the dashboard view. The dashboard view is a completely customizable NOC view of all your customers' devices. This is not customer specific, unlike the device view, which is multi-tenant, which is customer specific. The dashboard, you can add as many gadgets per tab as you want. So you have an Exchange tab, as I have here, a SQL tab, and you can all your SQL servers combined so that you can look at them from one big screen. Some of our partners, what they do is they have a projector, and they throw this onto a projector in a full screen mode. As you hear, we have a full screen, and it just cycles through tabs every minute, every 30 seconds or whatnot. We also have a custom gadget manager, which allows you to create custom gadgets just like you would a custom report. A neat tool, because again, like just with the reports, since you guys are the ones in the trenches, you might have a gadget that you might want to view certain critical data that is important to you. You can custom that within here. Quick little break right now, and just see if anybody has any questions. Please just run. I'll wait about a minute to if somebody has any questions, anything that I might have went too fast with, or just kind of open it up to something. If it's an architectural question or anything like that, please don't hesitate. I have a few other screenshots I can throw up here, so kind of elaborate and illustrate for you. Some people to write some questions. Just want to mention that we have both Linux and Mac agents. We had them for a while now, so we can monitor those devices. We have Avaya modules, so we can monitor MOS through Avaya and Cisco, as well as we can monitor Cisco wireless controllers and access points. Since on that subject, let me just go ahead and show you the access point here. Here's a Cisco AeroNet or AeroNet. And here's monitoring the access points. Here's the client access list. Is that for you? Actually, on this device right here, so you can see we're getting network statistics, the interfaces that are up. We'll go over the alerts in a little bit. This is all the monitoring perspective here. More people joining us. If you could, please just mute your lines. I'll greatly appreciate it. I'm just going to keep on moving here. One of the cool things we have is also a network map. This is very comparable to Visio. It builds a pretty much an architecture of your customer's IT infrastructure. So you see it from an eagle's perspective, where the bottlenecks are occurring, where devices are going down, what subnets might be affected. So you can easily and efficiently drill down to the appropriate subnet. So for instance, here I have this switch. I can double click on it and it'll take me right to it. That's still on the network here. We go this one here. There we go. So this is a Cisco iOS support configuration backup for it. What it allows us to do is, for what reason, whether Henry in shipping decides to be an IT guru and resets the router, you could even alert and then go ahead and compare it to a previous time. It'll highlight the changes, and using our TFTP tool, you can transfer those default configuration or the saved configuration files back to the router or switch from here. Let me just take a look at this question here. Yeah. Okay, hold on a sec. Back towards the maps. Also, you might have customers with different locations, so you map a map such as this right here. Give it a global overview. We'll give you the status of the actual site, not just the customer, and you double click on it and you have a different map layout. So this is completely customizable, guys. The only thing that we need within PacketTrap is just to add the devices you want to monitor so that we can build the relationship. Certain key components require having, a router, a switch, so that way our system knows exactly what's connected to where. Okay. For purposes here, I have a map. Right now monitored not by an SMP, so we do that as well. I want to highlight that is a keystone to PacketTrap is our ability to monitor network traffic flow. Network traffic flow is important because it will spot trends in application performance. Not just that, but there's many things go wrong with network. Route maps, fault connections, network traffic flow, links being hogged, or what. This right here will help you understand and relatively easily diagnose the problem. So the time to resolution right here will be greatly mitigated because you can jump into this switch and see what's exactly going on in the network, who's using what ports, what protocols, number of packets in and out. You can go to the device and it'll tell you what devices are using it. Click on trend chart here and it'll build a nice graphical display for you so you can see it. This data is broken into a couple areas. You got conversations, so communication between devices. We can see the top 10 to the top 5,000. This last hour, whatnot, we can drill down to interface. So let's say hypothetically you receive an alert that a particular interface is acting above normal. You drill into it, you can see what devices are using it and what applications they're running. So it's also going to help you adjust your COS, quality of service, on the firewall or switch router. So, quick, just to illustrate how you would onboard a new customer. Very simple within PacketTrap. Go to site, give it a friendly name, what the customer's name is, a little description, and over here you just put in your host IP address of PacketTrap server. This is where the initial agent is going to be reporting back to. Once that's done, you click on Save, and you're going to get a screen that prompts you to install an initial agent, which I have here. And click on Add Devices. So this agent has to be installed inside of PacketTrap. Once you get this initial agent installed, you run a quick network discovery, deploy agents. Once done, this is your initial customer. You either build policies beforehand or afterwards. It doesn't really matter because there's definitely going to be some trend data that we're going to have to configure to adjust to prevent you from started with alerts. So for anything that has a trend, if you guys can put your device on mute. I know a couple more people that just joined us right now. That'd be great. A lot of false positives emanate from network data, CPU, memory. Some SQL servers always running high. So you might have an alert that says that if memory is over 90%, that's a fixed value. But we can customize that alert to reflect an actual baseline. The system calculates that over a period of time that you can configure within the administrative section. And again, as I mentioned, it'll mitigate against false positives. Jump here. So once you have all devices entered, you have the agents deployed, you have all of the basically you put a drag on the IT infrastructure. We're going to go into a policy. Write this policy. You can do it from the configuration side as well. We're going to down the monitors. So many of the monitors have pre-canned intervals for the alerts, as well as some basic settings. Some of the settings that you would need to adjust would be on application event logs. What do you want to monitor on the application event logs? Currently, it's only set to monitor errors, but if you wanted to monitor everything, just go in, hold control, and adjust the settings here. You can also adjust the time intervals as well. The next you might want to adjust would be for the network traffic flow. This might be something that download you might want to add and exclude certain IP addresses from being monitored, things that you trust on the site or things that you, for whatever reason, you might want to exclude, so that way you can mitigate the number of flows coming through. Here, we have SMPT server test, so just put in your recipient here and the address where it's coming from, and this will run a test every hour to make sure that the mail server is working. Traps, you can exclude certain OIDs or community strings, so you're not going to get bombarded by that. Well, this is from the monitoring perspective. This is not for the alerts. The alerts is done in a different section. So in reality, you could be monitoring all the SNMP traps that your heart desires. Same thing with syslog. You can monitor all the facilities, all the severities and whatnot. You can filter it on the agent level, so that way it's not sent back to your host server. The other thing you want to enable also is on the system event logs, same idea, just highlight the event type that you want to monitor. Not necessarily alert, but monitor off. So this is just strictly for monitoring. So take a look at the pre-canned settings here. Make sure that they comport with your SLAs and your business environment. You can adjust them from here. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to move over. One thing I did miss is the for the TCP ports that are open, which is pretty important, making sure that key ports are open so that you can alert whether they're administratively down, functionally down, or whatnot, operationally down, or just actually down. What we want to do is, from the onset, we can run our tool, and this will scan all the ports that are closed and open so that you have an idea of the list that you would need to populate within the server policy. And just go ahead and copy it and go back into the server policy and add those ports from here. So important ports. If you're using proprietary ports or whatnot, you can add them to the PacketTrap database here. Just go into here, settings, ports, separate commas that you monitor. Go back about that. Next step would be automating some alerts. I want to go through some key alerts that I feel are important across the board, probably from a break-fix perspective, but not from a break-fix perspective, I apologize, but from an initial onboarding perspective. So we pre-canned alerts here. From a best practice perspective, some of these alerts you want to go ahead and disable just from the onset, so you're not going to get false positive, such as memory, CPU, because you want to build a trend for those so that you're properly alerted off them. Go ahead and pull this up. Go back alert. There we go. So filling this out, giving it a friendly name, severity, priority, notifying on conditions met, actions completed. If you want to notify a specific technician or somebody within your database, you can do that, so it'll override the actual notification rules. Conditions. So setting up alerts. One thing we want to do is alert off application event logs, preferably errors. If you put in errors, we're going to alert off any application event log error. If you put in the source, it'll alert off the particular source, and then you get down more specific and do event IDs. If you don't know the source and you don't know the event ID, but you have an idea of the message that the event log contains, you can put that message in here as well. So you have to match the level and the message that it contains, and you'll receive an alert off that. Configuration changes. If a full configuration file has changed, or if just a particular string within the file has changed, let me know. Let me have an alert. Not found. Sometimes you will find that you want to know which customers have certain programs, which customers should not have certain programs. So, or what customers need programs to have installed on there. So you can easily create this quick alert to notify you of that. And there's a drop-down box of all the applications that are running within the system right here. All the devices that are added to this policy, all this will be auto-populated there for you. You want to go ahead and alert off audit failures, so that way if it fails to log in, you'll be alerted off that, preferably from like a domain controller or something running Active Directory. We have Active Directory counters as well. We can also monitor the specific services and whatnot. Software inventory changes, so if somebody installs or uninstalls a particular application, you want to receive an alert off that. This will notify you whether a device is added or removed. So, and then as you're building your actionable data set, you can now begin to exclude specific devices based on their MAC addresses. So that way you know this device is safe and secured. I will only be alerted off devices that are unknown to me. First, as we mentioned before, we can alert off specific TCP, whether they're responding or they're closed. Next status, CRC errors. Sometimes the server might be functioning fine, everyone else is working, but the network for some reason is having signal loss errors or whatnot. So we can alert off either tunnels, alignment errors, Ethernet errors, or whatnot. So you get those up here. Oops.
I have two questions.
Yes.
Mike, two questions. One, is there any way to alert only if 2 items hit their limits?
Right on the 2 items?
Like packets less than 1,000 and uptime less than 5 minutes, but only alert if both limits are hit.
Absolutely. Create as many conditions as you want. So for instance, I can have packet loss is, let's say, I'm throwing out hypotheticals here, 40% above the baseline or duration of 5 minutes. And keep in mind, this is based on the monitoring interval. So if you have a monitoring interval set at 1 minute, you will get an alert less than that. If you have a monitoring interval set to 15 minutes, creating an alert vice versa. When you're monitoring set for 5 minutes, you want to create an alert for if it's for 10 minutes. So that way it mitigates the false positive. So I can create an alert that says ping packet loss is at 40% over the baseline. At the same time, I can create an alert. What was the other portion of that? Was ping not responding, or device?
Less than 5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so we can create an alert of ping response time. And right here on the bottom, we say trigger alert when all conditions are met. And I haven't jumped into the auto remediation part of that. We could create, self-healing tasks, things we want the system to do, automate if, A happens, then B. If not B, then C, type of order.
Do alerts require agents to be installed?
No, alerts do not require agents to be installed. I mentioned we're both agent and agentless. We do require that at least one agent is installed on the customer's LAN to give us a, established tunnel to it. Once that initial agent is installed, everything can be done remotely through PacketTrap MSP, deploying to additional subnets, granted that agent can get out. You can always deploy additional agents to different sites if they're not connected via MPLS or VPN or whatnot. So there's, as I mentioned also before, there's multiple ways within PacketTrap, since it's so customizable that we can deploy it based on your workflow and how you have your customers' IT infrastructure is configured. So no, they do not require an agent. The things that require an agent would be patch management, scripting, the remote control tool, expert assist, and antivirus. Those are the only 4 things require an agent, because we we prefer to have better granular control of the environment rather than relying on RPC, WMI, SNMP to monitor that data. You have your standard alerts configured. Those hardware inventory changes as well. So, if somebody removes a hard drive or replaces something, you want to alert off that. We have SNMP traps, which is, from an industry perspective, the best to alert off RAID failure, depending on whether you're using HP or Dell, whoever your RAID provider is, your vendor. We can alert off SNMP traps, or we can alert off application or system event logs. SNMP traps would be the best way to go. And to do that is very simple. All you do is you point the HP manager or overview, I forget what it's called, to the local host, and our agent is listening on the local host for those SNMP traps. And when you set up the alert, you alert if you know the specific OID. If you don't know the ID, you can just say, RAID failure 1 or something like that, 2. So depending on what you want. You can also, the other way to do it is filter everything other than SNMP traps based on RAID, and then over here all you need to do is just say SNMP traps alert if any trap is received, because the only trap you're receiving is the RAID failure. It can be done through application event logs. So anything critical that you need to know right now can be done through SNMP traps, syslog, because those are the things that come in no monitoring interval for them. They just fire. Particular conditions met, you can go ahead and create new actions. You can create, service restart, active connections, depending on what the condition is. So if a program is not found, I want you to go ahead and run a custom script to install a particular program. If, an amount of actions that can be triggered based on a condition. So anything that you feel that you want the system to do that you normally would have to do yourself, that is mundane and routine, you can have the system automate that and now free up your time to go out, venture into new markets or promote your own business or take a trip with the family, whatever it may be. So you can deploy custom scripts from here, select an existing script or add an existing script. It'll just walk you through the same wizard that we went through before, just launches that, and you go ahead and just select the script. So this is create a new script, or I can select from an existing script. It'll do my database here. So here I have a bunch of Windows scripts, and I feel that I've logged in before. We use any kind of standard batch PowerShell script. So anything that has an interpreter on that end, we can run that script on. So whether you want to check registry files, or you want to remove registry keys, delete services, delete folders, clean up temporary files, or run a disk defrag if the disk free space reaches a certain threshold, we can go ahead and do that. We can notify a user. So let's say a program is not found, or let's say they installed a malicious software. You can create a script that says, hey, you installed this program, please remove it, or bypass that. Let's go ahead and just remove the program. These actions right here are not sufficient enough to clean the folder or the triggers again. You can create a new escalation, and you can also create a new reset condition, but I'm not going to go into the detail of that just to say that we can do it. Creating a new escalation, just notify another technician that, hey, this has not been acknowledged in this particular amount of time. Please take a look at it, and it can fire off, trigger 10 times in a duration of 5 minutes. So that way, if it's a critical customer, it's a critical alert, you can make sure that somebody does acknowledge the ticket. A reset condition, let's say that if A occurs before B has a chance to run, A goes back to normal. So we create a new reset condition that will log the alert, but will not necessarily notify you or have an action taken based off that. Scheduled actions is kind of contrary to custom scripting, where you can also schedule actions to be done. Right here, you can do it. Right here will limit the actions to the policy, whereas on the scripting module, what I recommend to do, you can specify the range of devices, the customer, or actually pick certain policies or groups to run the script on. So a little bit more granular, but here you can customize scheduled actions to run only on these devices. So if you have an exchange policy or a SQL policy, you might have certain actions you want to run at particular times. Also, blackout schedules just to disable alerts during particular times based on your SLA, or if you're doing maintenance or something like that, you can apply the blackout schedules to them. Set up these static alerts. You're ready to go. You have a heartbeat package set up with certain key custom scripts that are running, and you're working with the customer. You're going to find more things that you want to automate, and as that builds up, you will build up your custom templates. Once you have a global template configured, instead of reinventing the wheel all the time, you can go ahead and just click on copy this template and create, let's say, like for instance, I created all these templates for Exchange, and I believe that's the only one I created. And the Mac policy I built on the desktop. I can create, a new policy called SQL policy or something like that. So that way I keep all my alerts for all my generic servers intact. And all I have to do is when I go into the actual server policy, I can apply the SQL custom templates to the monitoring. So we have these built-in templates. You can just simply run in, check, and apply. If it's a domain controller or antivirus, other applications running, SharePoint or whatnot, Exchange, you can just apply these custom templates from here. And then you go back into your customers and you're configuring for all your Exchange, you can only configure, you can do it en masse on one policy. Now, there will be times where you'll find yourself, I don't want to move a device to a completely new policy. I just want to edit that device on that particular customer. To do that, all you do is just highlight the device to monitors and alerts and configure for the device. This is in essence going to override the global policy. Some customers, you might want to have a specific policy that only applies to them. Let's say they're the only customer that is running VM, ESX, and we can monitor 3.5 all the way to ESX i5. There's performance. ES5 is the best because they've improved a lot of things through SNMP and whatnot. 3.5 just pretty much only supports SNMP TRAS, but I don't know if anybody's still using that. And setting up 4.1 and 4.0 is very simple within PacketTrap. We integrate with their API, so we're going to get the system, CPU, memory information from that host, as well as all the VM and the VMware settings for that device. Let's jump in here. The policies, as I mentioned, just copy the policy. It'll copy all the alerts. It'll copy all the remediation, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's very simple to do. Just edit it. All you do is highlight the devices you want to go into that policy, right-click, configure, and assign policy. Also, once you've configured your patch management groups, you simply from here, from the device, without having to go into the module itself, right-click, configure, and assign the devices to the patch management group that you want it to be applied to. That's a quick initial, onboarding of PacketTrap MSP. Very simple, very easy to use, very easy to navigate. There's configuration that needs to happen for the SNMP to be enabled. We have tools to enable SNMP. They work on about 70 to 80% of devices. Some devices you might need to enable different MIBs. We have so many features out there that we don't out of the box enable them on every device because not every device supports them. So one of the other processes or steps that you have to do in your onboarding is decide where you want to enable NetFlow, where you want to enable, Cisco, VoIP, where you want to, do you have a VIA module, do you have a Cisco wireless controller, is there an access point that you want to monitor? So enabling some of these things will be a different workflow. It's very simple to do. It's wizard driven through PacketTrap. Some devices do require you to do it through command line. They're not web-based. And for that simple reason, we have Telnet built in. So you can just go ahead straight from here, launch PuTTY, and log in and do those configurations. Simply by not managing a device, also the benefit of PacketTrap is, for instance, this device right here, a Subversion, I don't really know what it is. I know what it is, but let's say you don't. And you can see here, we don't have SNMP enabled on here. We don't have an agent installed. I can still right-click into this device, click Connect, and RDP into this device. Or if it's a switch or I can use the web proxy or web browser to log into this switch, router, or desktop and do what I need to do on it. So you're not limited to remote control because you're not monitoring the device granularly. Dell as well, not just Dell, we monitor printers. Here's a Dell printer I have. We can have custom monitors for toner levels and whatnot. And here connections, this is what we use to build the network map. So it's showing the interface and the connected devices to it. Anything with an IP address that can have it installed or is capable of SNMP requests. So it doesn't have to be all three of them, but any one of those, we can manage that device. So the forum for some questions, Q&A. If anybody has some specific questions they want to go over, I'd be more than happy to discuss them with you right now. We have a couple of minutes. We have 10-15 more minutes left for this meeting. So I'd like to take this time and kind of open up the forum to you guys and some of the things that may be of interest to you. If we get to everything, I'm just going to keep talking until I get a question. If we don't get anything, I recommend download the product, contact one of our sales guys, and have them answer your questions for you. If you're interested in a demo or would like to have assistance configuring something, we're there for you to help. So we want to assist.
A method of deploying agent via GPO?
GPO.
I don't know.
Group policy? Yes, absolutely. So we have a silent agent deployment. And ask that question, if you're asking about Active Directory deployment, if you can just comment on that and say yes, that's what I'm referring to. So I get what GPO means. The acronyms in this business that UN, right? So yes, there's ways to deploy agent. Running our wizard. So on Add Devices, I select the second button. I can run agent discovery. This will deploy an MSI script to the device. Now, this does require having Active Directory credentials to it through the AD to deploy this. For devices on a work group, there's two options. If it's a work group, there's no way to deploy an MSI script on a work group. So you can install the agent manually, and this way you can do two things. So there's this second option. This branches out into two. You can either copy the link to your host server and RP into these devices as you're working with them and install it through the web proxy, just like you would any individual agent. They're going to be specific to the customer. So it's not going to create a new site. It's going to report back directly to the customer. Or the link to that particular individual and say, hey, I want you to click on this link and just follow the on-screen instructions. Please install this monitor your device. The other cool thing about this is that if you need like instantaneous support, say you have somebody that's out of the blue, a gypsy computer that user that calls you in, they're not a customer of yours, but you want to be. You can put a generic link to an agent onto your site and hey, if you need support, click on this link. It'll install a PacketTrap agent, and you can be notified that the agent has been installed, and the customer now has, or you have now access to the customer's device, and your technicians can remote control into that device, kind of just like LogMeIn does it, or anybody else. So you have that built into your website, or however you go out to your customers, however you face your customers, which is most likely your website. The third option is what you were asking before, and I want to get to that, is through group policy, the silent agent deployment. So you can a script on how to do that. Not a script, but a community. Let me just type in here real quick. What it means is that when a device pops up onto the network, logs in, it's automatically going to deploy an agent to that device if it doesn't already have one. So you can set up via group policy. Absolutely. So the answer is yes. And the community silent agent install. There, link. Yeah. These instructions for deploying the agent.
Ask them if they can hear anything.
Hear me?
Okay. Yep.
Perfect. So do we have any other brave souls out there that want to can ask a question? Please do so. I want to be as informative as possible for you. All right. So if you do any other questions, or you just hesitate to ask and you don't want to type it up, you can always contact us. Our phone number is 415-293-6500. You can also email or go ahead and just download PacketTrap MSP from right here. Very easy to install. Oops, let me go back. Set it up. Very minimal server configuration. You can, for purposes, you can put it on a desktop. You know, we can always migrate everything later, so everything you've done and saved and configurations and added user accounts, all that will be saved. Not a problem. Put on a laptop. The only problem is if the laptop doesn't have a static IP address. If by chance you discover once the laptop reboots, it'll be reporting back to the same IP. So that's the only problem with installing it on a laptop. But if you just want to demo it, evaluate it, take a look at some low environment to it, go ahead and install it on a laptop. I don't. Having everybody here. I hope you have a good rest of the week, and look forward to chatting in every single one of you, and hopefully welcome you as a partner in the very near future. We do have some great promotions. This is being the end of the quarter for Quest Software, so there's a lot of push to bring on new customers. We have promotions online. And, if you're interested, give us a call, and we'd love to see if we'd like to bring you on board as a partner, and if this is a viable solution for you and what your needs are. Thanks. Have a great day.